first full day. I think when did the first full day in pads, one way or the other? Just kind of how's that transition going? What are you seeing?
Well, again, it's guys here all summer. There's a lot of installation. So the first 2 days, acclimation or helmets only. Then it was Saturday, Sunday goes to shoulder pads. We get a couple lifting days. We had the media day with you guys Saturday. Monday was the first full padded day. We went yesterday morning to give them some time because the days are 2 a day. So we went yesterday morning. So we had a long time for meals, for hydration, for recovery, for rest, for meetings. So we're going this morning, and then we'll have a lighter practice 6 o'clock tonight. Today's a 2 a day. Tomorrow we're giving them an off day. And then we'll come back in, and so instead of having Sunday off, we kind of went through the install. But this is 6 straight days, 7 practices by tonight. Tomorrow we'll have some light go. We'll build back Thursday, have a double day Friday, and we're going to scrimmage late Saturday. Saturday, I think, is the Monroe County Youth Football Day, so all the league teams get to come in, get the scrimmage, get their pictures. Our guys hang out a little bit with that, and that kind of ties into a scrimmage that we'll do. It'll be our first big scrimmage. Pad-wise, you go short. I mean, today was our first live tackling. We've done some Oklahoma drill one-on-one tackling. We've done some form tackling, but today was our first 11-on-11 tackling, and you build to that, Zach. So progression's been kind of normal, kind of good, and could be a little tired, a little sluggish. But again, we're a stronger team. We got a long way to go, but we're learning how to practice hard. Trying to get our coaches and players to get in the mindset of. I think if you train, sometimes you can almost start training like a quarter miler, or a distance runner who runs at a different pace. The game's played in short bursts, and there's a point in time where the way we do practice, we can almost practice so much where it's hard for them to play at an 80, 90, 100 percentile. You talk about that, but when you got to go again and again, in the games, they got like in a practice sometimes we'll have 60 plays. In a game, it's 60, 70, 80 plays, and you're playing half of that, and you got TV timeouts, and you got halftime, and you're off the field. When in practice you got individual, you got kicking. It's like 2 hours of almost like a soccer continuous movement practice. And so we've tried to look at some ways of practicing where we don't overdo it. So when we say go, we can start really playing more game speed reps in practice for what that's worth. You talk about practice situations, but we're trying to get some more 100 percentile, 20 mile an hour, fast as you can go plays during practice. We're working through that, and I think coaches get used to. You got to have reps, and I think there's a diminishing return with speed.
After starting today, how have the newcomers kind of adjusted to that?
Okay, I mean, some of them want to get hit once, and they start adjusting their chin strap, or they get those big eyes. And like I say, you don't play in this league if you don't hit. So they're doing good. I really, some of those linemen with Knight and Stepniak, Brandon Robinson looks nice. Brandon Wilson's got a chance. There's depth in the line, so. They're good, skilled players. I think a lot of the defensive backs look good. Tyler Green has a lot of notoriety coming in, but Andre Brown's been as impressive as anyone. Devontae Williams has been as impressive as anyone. He's our most physical guy because as a runner, he's used to getting hit where a lot of DBs aren't. So he's the strongest of those DBs, and he's nice. Jamil Cooks looks very natural. Crawford, I think all those freshmen get in the top 10 and maybe top 8, top 6. And so those guys are going to push, and that's making Fant and Tony Fields and those guys pick it up. So it's early. I don't think those guys are shying from competition. I like to see our young receivers have some talent, though, be a little bit more physical as they learn to play with the pads and all that stuff.
It's early, but I guess, have you seen enough to feel a little bit better about the youth at the back end of that defense because you are getting maybe some good early returns from those freshman DBs?
Yeah. I mean, again, still, it's going to be a work in progress. At the same time, if you got a front, we had a period today where we had, we think we got a good offensive line, and we had 4 sacks out of 6 plays. So if you can create some pressure and not have to blitz all the time and hang them out, and whether it be one-on-one rush, 3-man, 4-man, 5-man pressure. So those guys got to complement themselves a little bit. That run game with the tight ends and O-line got to set up some pass game and help the young receivers. I think the defensive front linebackers are still going to be one-on-one. And sometimes you can protect them in coverage, but those guys are going to be okay back there. But I still think when you talk about you want the young guys to come on, I think your older guys got to be stronger, and that covers up some of that a little bit because your personality of your team, if you're a good line of scrimmage team, the game is played in space a lot more, and you can bust some coverages or not make big plays and hurt you. I mean, you need some dynamic skill players. But I think you can go through some growing pains if your line of scrimmage is really kicking butt. And I think, you know, as we go through this camp, it'd be interesting to see just how strong our line of scrimmage, because I think that'll really help those young guys and not stress them out so much where they, quote, don't get exposed as much, if that makes sense. So, but I don't know if I answered that for you the right way. It's just a few practices in, they look okay, but until you keep hitting. So I'm expecting a lot of the young guys to, we'll see. I'm not saying we're counting on them, they'll get in the mix, but
Coach, Austin Doris and Brandon Wilson had a little extracurricular activity during the Oklahoma drills. Is that something you want to see, or?
Well, when we first got here, we didn't have a fight the whole first year. There's a fine line where it can lead past the practice field we talk about. And, you know, brothers can fight. If your brothers, once in a while we're fighting, but it needs not become personal. And so, in fact, the first year we finally got a fight, someone said we don't do that. And I go, yeah, we don't. I was just kind of concerned. So I kind of like it. But there's a balance there, because if it becomes personal, or if it goes past and it gets to the locker room, or it comes back to the next play, then it's a problem. And so that's why I said, okay, y'all go again, just hit right now and get it over with. And I think moving forward it was kind of good. So, but you know, getting in a fight and swinging, hitting people and breaking fingers that are padded is not very, very smart. So, but it is nice to have a little chippiness, a little brotherly love. You need that. You need the banter. You just don't want it to get personal.
Also, Isaac James is working out on the side. Was there something? Did he tweak something today?
He got a nice. I think he's got a little shoulder thing. So he got hit by Will Dawkins early, and just, you know, I don't think it's anything major. But he hasn't been able to practice for a day or two.
Can you talk about the kicking game at this point? What are you seeing there?
Well, we've done a lot of coverage work without doing a lot of full cover, a lot of fundamentals, just the fundamentals of protection or defeating blocks and all that. So we're kind of getting where we're starting to get into 11 on 11 kicking, you know, where it's full coverage. I think our punter looks very good with Toth. I think our snappers are better, and the young kid we brought in, Gotzel, is probably very talented. That's escalated. There's some, you know, so I think the snap issue is a concern for me, because Matt Dooley was awfully good, really good. But I think as we move forward, we'll see how that goes. I think Toast looked awesome. Joseph Gideon has a huge leg. He's a little, I'd like to see him get a little quicker because of protection issues. He's a little deliberate. You know, some certain guys you're beating with timing of the kick, so you can still cover properly. So I'd like to see him kick it up, pick it up. But Toast's been really good. Oaks is kicked because Del Grosso actually is aggravated, like a groin. He's flared up, so we've not had him kick for a couple of days. So right now it's kind of Oaks at the kicker. But I was expecting kind of a 50-50 race with camp. And unfortunately, Aaron's got like a groin pull that we've got to be quiet with him for a couple of days, not kick him.
Kevin, I'm wondering, the year-round nature of football now, where you're training, is the August camp...
It kills your golf game.
I know it kills you.
Not if you have a golf game.
But beyond the golf game, is it too long now? In other words, you have a month to prepare. Do you need that month, or could you tighten it up a little bit?
What we try to do, because you say that, is you know, for example, tomorrow's an off day, and we're going to do some team, and you can overdo the team building things. Like, you know, as a parent, I had to go to Disney World, and we checked it off. We're not going back. It didn't fit us that day. It was hot and miserable, but you check off things. Well, I can have team activities and check them off. We want to build some team chemistry. So tomorrow we've got an off day, because sometimes they go to apartments and they go to dorms and they get in their little cliques, and, you know, so there's a fine line. So the nice thing is I feel there's enough time that I don't have to, and because we have our systems in, I don't think we feel as rushed like we used to feel. We got, you know, we don't understand. Like today we did what we call punt safe. Hey, we're going to talk about fakes, and, you know, they might go for it, or it's 4th and 3. We don't want to jump off sides. And initially, it's like, that's really hard. Well, now you got a lot of guys that play. They understand your terminology. And so sometimes, to me, I don't think we feel as rushed, and you can get into a little bit more team building. You know, if I can hurry up and get to a meeting, hurry up. I think our kids are more relaxed as they come off the field. There used to be a lot more hyper and stress going on, because there's a better flow, and sometimes you shorten meetings and you shorten practices because you think there's a greater understanding. So I feel like your question is, maybe our practice is too long. We don't get preseason games, but I don't feel like, I think it gives the kids chances to recover. And like I'm saying, I'm talking about the way we do things so that we can practice better. We gotta look at rest and time intervals. Like we practiced early yesterday so they could have lunch, dinner, a snack, and continental before we practice again. They had 4 meals between practices from nutrition, hydration. But I like the team building. I get more of that now And I think a lot of coaches do.
I saw that McCullough spent time with Atlanta in the pro camp. How nice is that for him to go there, take some stuff from the pros, and bring that to his guys?
One, it's a good personal opportunity. They have a lot of internships they do to give guys experiences. He's done it a couple, 3 times last year at the Seahawks. So my thing though is that it's kind of when we're cranking up, they're cranking up, and I like to give the coaches a little bit of June and July for family time, and so there's a give and take of like, hey, you know, it's great for you to be there, but be with us. So we just tried to work that out. But he's, I was glad he was there, and it was a different offensive deal. I actually thought it could have been a lot more because it's not Tevin's coach now. That you know, for what that's worth.
Now you're able to run some live, team plays. And what are you saying from the running backs? I don't understand that.
Well, they ran a lot. They ran a lot harder when we said tackle than in the non-tackle drills. As a matter of fact, they got tackled more in the tackle drills than the non-tackle drills. Well, excuse me, they got tackled more in the non-tackle drills than the tackle drills because I think that fear makes you run a little faster. So they were. We have not taken care of the ball in the plays. I see the ball getting a little loose, and so it's early camp. Ball security needs to be an issue. But Divine, Jordan, Wilson's popped a couple. Brookins been. A-Rod's got a little ankle. Tommy's been a little inconsistent still. But the core of the group's doing pretty good.
You've seen some good pros at Danny Cameron. I mean, how far has he come along, and where is that kind of backup quarterback?
Very good. It's kind of like, we're kind of 50-50 in both those guys because Danny's got a lot better. Xander can make a lot of plays with his energy and movement, but he's also a little careless that scares you. And will force some throws and do a few things. So it's a little 50-50. One, because Danny's doing better, and then as much, and quite honestly, we're going to look really hard because that's going to determine our direction. Because we need a backup quarterback this year, we need a future quarterback. And we're trying to figure out what that future is. And whether that future's on campus or maybe that future's not. And so we're like, and I'm over there Pat and Go watching Austin King and Donovan Hill because we might not be getting reps, but we need a short term, if called upon guy. You always need a 2 and 3. We need a long term position as we keep going with that deal. So you're making a lot of judgments now that affect a year, 2, 3, 4 from now what you're trying to do. So, but Danny's a lot better. Xander has not by no means been bad. I just think Danny's better. And if it's a 50-50 or even if Xander's ahead of Danny, but if Danny's good enough, you would let Danny play mop-up duty unless it was a problem. And because you could get Xander's yearback, you could train him as the 2. He's your 2. That was Nate Sutphill the first year. Nate was a 3 until Trey got hurt, and within 1 minute, okay, look, he's broken ankle for the year. You're not going to have to play. Get ready to play in this game against Massachusetts. That was decided within 30 seconds. And Xander and Danny will see, but Danny's doing a lot better.
Is this back to more like a veteran team? Coach Jones was saying that Nate Sutphill's getting the most out of every rep now. Have you seen more of that with more guys now that they're veteran guys? They know how to practice.
I think a little bit. I think there's still a little distrust whether they believe them, whether they trust themselves or trust us. I'd like to see them go a little harder because I think they think all of a sudden I'm gonna go crazy and we run a bunch of 100 sprints or something. And like today at practice, I said, hey, I want it to be better, and I'm not going to change. But if you don't practice a lot harder more, then don't be surprised if you don't reach certain goals. So I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not going to put you down. But I just want it to be better this evening and better when we come back on Thursday, not tomorrow. And it wasn't bad. I just started getting a little bit of practice blocks. I said, so I'm not going to get negative. We're in shape. We're strong. But sometimes I think there's a little, do I have enough stamina to go harder? Or a long time ago, Coach Walker at Miami about fired me when I was coaching Atlanta one day. He said, what's that right tackle messed up at the end of a practice? He said, what's he thinking about right now? I go, he's thinking, how many sprints are you going to run and what's for dinner? That's exactly what he's thinking right now. He's not thinking about a blitz. He goes, is this crazy man going to run a bunch of sprints? And I sure hope they get chicken or pizza. That's what he's thinking. And so, right now, as a player, what are you thinking? Trust me, I'm not going to overdo you. You go hard, because sometimes they put a governor on because it's just the fear of the unknown. I'm trying to quit worrying about it. We got enough good players. We can tap you out with the break, fly around. That's why as we're practicing, we're trying to just get through some segments of practice, teach them how to fly around quicker, and quote, get the game speed. Because everybody talks about that game speed deal in game situations, game reps. I'm trying to get this team mature enough to, at point in time you got to get them tougher. At point in time you got to see who cares. I think that's kind of in place. Now we're trying to get you right. And I think there's still a little total buy-in. Because they know the old guy's still here too. But, I see a lot of good in these guys, so I'm just trying to get them to see if they can bring it on soon. A lot of work to do. Good start. You guys cool?
You mentioned, I just want to ask you mentioned Brandon.